Hello, everybody. This is Serenity Michaelis, and I believe in Kletsits. Kletsits is California Exits. It's a play on Brexit, which is Britain leaving the EU, Kletsits, California leaving the United States of America, where we would have 49 states instead of 50 states, and California could be its own country, or if California doesn't want to be its own country, it could join up with Mexico. It could just be California, Mexico together, like whatever, but just out of the United States. And California is just, I mean, it just goes to a level that is way too extreme, even for the left. I would imagine that there are going to be left wing YouTubers that go, this is just too far. In California, you could deliberately infect people with HIV, AIDS knowingly, and you would not get arrested. Before giving people AIDS, HIV, it used to be a felony charge. It would be like the equivalence of murder, because you are, murdering somebody. Because to live with AIDS is $5,000 per month, at least according, I mean, at least that's what I've heard. I heard it's $5,000 per month to treat AIDS. And I don't have that kind of money. I don't have the money to live with AIDS. Many people don't. The celebrities do. The celebrities, they're made of money. They could, pay the $5,000 a month, but many people can't. Not only that, but I've also read that you could go to like a blood drive. You could go to a blood drive and donate your infected blood. And again, nothing, nada, no personal responsibility. But even if you are a feminist and you're not that extreme, this is still a feminist talking point. Do this or you're a bigot. Like, have sex with a trans person or you're a bigot. Have sex with a black person or you're a racist. Do this. It's guilting people into things. Like, well, have sex with a person with AIDS, or you're a bigot. You don't want to be intolerant. It's it's a fallacious argument to begin with. Sure, if you refuse to have sex with black people, you could be a racist, but you probably just haven't found a person who's black that you're attracted to. You probably just haven't met that right black person yet, or you probably haven't found a black person you have lots in common with. Case in point, and I even mentioned this when I criticized Blair White, like, um, interracial relationships don't always work. For example, when a white woman and a Japanese man get together, and the white woman like, yeah, I really want to date a Japanese guy. I've always wanted to date one. I love anime. I love manga. I've always wanted to date a Japanese guy. Always looked forward to it. And a Japanese guy could be like, I've always wanted to date an American. I've always looked forward to it. And then they finally get together, and then reality hits. Like, Japanese people are not manga characters. Japanese people are not, anime characters. And this kind of reminds me of Oscar Wilde's The Decay of Lying, where Oscar Wilde did address this, like towards the end of Decay of Lying, where it's kind of like, You know what? Because apparently life in America now is, not that different from the 1800s. There were still weeaboos back then who looked at Japanese, arts and thought like Japanese people must really be like that. But no, Japanese people are not like anime characters. And if you think like that, you're going to be very disappointed. And like Americans, we're not like American TV shows. We're not like the characters on like CW or ABC or whatnot. We're not characters. We're real people. And real people are not like what you see from works of arts, We're not like fictional characters. We don't spend all day fighting the bad guys, you know? And so there ends up being cultural conflict where, a woman goes to Japan and, she has to make the first move. She has to ask him out. And then, she has to pour tea for him. And it's like in America, you pour me to drink. But in Japan, I had to pour, tea for you. And the Japanese guy doesn't bother holding the door open for her. She's expected to cook a 5-course meal when the guy gets back home. She's expected to keep the house clean. She's expected to like be a real strong housewife. And it's kind of like a wake up call. It's like, this isn't like, this isn't like fiction, and things don't work all that well the reverse either because American men do not even bother to learn Japanese. And because the American men don't bother to learn Japanese, the Japanese housewife would take care of everything until she finally tricks the American man into signing divorce papers. She'll be like, "Oh, just sign this. Oh, don't worry about it. Just sign it." And then he'll sign it, and then he would realize that he got tricked into signing divorce papers. So, it's not something you don't date other people to be progressive, there are cultural differences. So, cultural differences should be addressed before you start dating a person. And some people may want to take the time out to do it, and some people may not. So, while refusing to date a black person could make you racist, as I don't take a KKK member or the alt-rights would be willing to date a black person. There are other reasons like cultural conflict, whether, whether you would be expected to assimilate and adopt a more black lifestyle. Yeah. So there's more going on, and that's why mixed race kids or mixed kids have a lot of trouble adjusting because you have the white mom and the black dad, and sometimes they end up getting a divorce really fast. 3 years later, there's a divorce, and they don't want to sound racist, but it's like, hey, you may not want to do it. You may not want to do it because of cultural differences. It's not like it's different skin color, and that's it. There is black culture, and you got to understand black culture because in the end, whenever a black person and a white person gets a divorce, the black person always gets full custody, and the argument is, what do you know of black culture? There are cultural differences, and things always works well for a black person whenever a black person and a white person gets a divorce And, the arguments of who keeps the child, the black person always keeps the child. So people who actually have been through it say be more cautious of it and don't just do it to be progressive, just to say, I slept with a black person, I'm tolerant, I'm tolerant, I'm tolerant. And with that, same thing with trans people. You know, it, people, sure, I'm sure that there are bigots or like turfs who refuse to date trans people, but I'm sure that there are people who just want to have children who don't want to have sex with trans people, because if I get with a trans man, I'm not going to get pregnant, and Carlos and, Modwayne would back me up on this. If you um, transitioned into a man and being a man is your new gender or real gender, you would be incapable of getting me pregnant. So, I mean, these differences, they really do matter. But the argument that people are receiving is they trans people. No, are you a bigot? They black people. Are you a bigot? And now it's kind of like have sex with people with AIDS. Are you a bigot? Are you a bigot? You should be more than willing to have sex with a person with AIDS. And I think that's what's is going on with California. You have this thing on the news where a hairdresser at 26 deliberately infected 4 lovers he met through gay dating app Grindr with HIV, tested one afterwards to say laugh out loud whoops. I do think that you should go to jail if you knowingly give somebody AIDS. You should go to jail if you try to give your blood, and you have AIDS, to a blood drive, for blood donations. In fact, I do think that you should be legally required to get tested. I think sexually active adults should be legally requiredly. Like, I don't think you should even unknowingly, give a person AIDS. Like, if you have AIDS and you don't know about it and you pass it on to somebody else, I think you should still go to jail. You should still, because you should have that responsibility to get tested after every single partner. Each new partner gets tested, you know. So yes, like, as far as I didn't know I have AIDS. That is not an excuse. The only excuse would probably be if you were drugged up, if you were totally drugged up and somebody passed it on to you while they were having sex with you while you were unconscious, which that is legally rape. Now, if you were raped where they were having sex with you while you were unconscious or sleeping and you caught AIDS and you really didn't know, that's one thing. But if you refuse, like if you have sex with 5 or 10 people and you think you might have AIDS, so you refuse to get tested, no, that should be illegal anyway. So yeah, I believe that it should be illegal to unknowingly give somebody AIDS, because you should have the type of responsibility to get tested, for each and every single partner you had, and let a new partner know, hey, I've had sex with all of these peoples. This is what I've got. That's my take. This is Ren Michaelis. Like, comment, subscribe, share me everywhere. Let me know if you agree or disagree. If you disagree with me, tell me why. If you disagree with me, that is always awesome. You're awesome. Bye bye.